My children do not need me to be perfect. They just need me. Hey guys, this is episode number 86 of the Mom Talks with Christa podcast. Thanks for joining me this week. I'm going to be trying something a little bit different with each episode and doing a little bit more of an intro because I realized a lot of people that are tuning into the show don't know a lot about Mom Talks and Mommy Knows Best. And so I thought I'd give you like a little inside scoop, some housekeeping and all that good stuff in the beginning of each episode. And if you're watching the video of this, you can see I didn't even clean up for it because I want you guys to get a real scoop of what it is like filming in my office. There's a little studio over there. You know, it's kind of set up for in-person interviews, but the cool thing about technology is being able to do all these interviews from people all over the world. So a lot of times I'm just sitting here at my desk doing these interviews and it's been amazing, but it's still a cool backdrop, right? So I kind of just want to talk a little bit about the show Mom Talks with Christa. I'm going to be officially numbering the podcast. They are kind of numbered in the background, but we've been doing, Mom Talks as a show, as a video, I guess, YouTube show for we're going on 3.5 years. And it started as a podcast maybe a year after we were doing shows, but I'm going to just start numbering the actual podcast episodes. And of course, they are all video or podcast, trying to do a little more cadence and regularity for you guys. So you know what to expect each week. And so Mom Talks is consisted of different interviews covering motivation, inspiration, postpartum health, pregnancy, labor and delivery. We just want to all encompassing. And what we say in the intro is that this show should help with mom shaming, is because I think a lot of times where mom shaming comes from is insecurity or shame on other people because of we were shamed ourselves. Maybe we don't fully understand their story, or we don't try to understand other people's stories. And vice versa. People don't try to understand our stories. They shame us before getting to know us or understanding our family. And the thing with mom shaming is a lot of it comes from lack of understanding other people, I think. And so this show, we have all kinds of people, all kinds of opinions, personalities, expertise. And the whole point of the show is to just be like, I'm going to listen to this today. Maybe I don't fully support this or believe in this, but I'm going to listen to it. And then you can take pieces of it and see what applies to your life and see what works for you and your family, and it's just giving you guys the resources to be able to say, like, I have the power to control what goes on within my family. You can listen and choose based on that, I guess, if that kind of makes sense. So it's more just opening ourselves up to learning and hearing other experiences than our own and taking that with us. I think it's really important to give people a platform. And that's why we created this show, is to not only educate, but give people a platform to share their stories, share what they've been through. And I think that helps us understand where people are coming from. Because, from one side of things, you can cast your own judgments on other people. But when you really hear people's story, where they came from, why they made a certain decision, I think we can allow ourselves to understand people a little bit better. So that's the point of the show. So if you are new, welcome. I hope this is not the only episode or only way I can connect with you. We have lots of other ways you can connect with us. So I actually want to talk about some upcoming events. So once a month, I do Facebook rooms, and this is in our Facebook group. We now have a Facebook group. We had a Facebook group over the last, 4 years, but our Facebook group is now at over 28,000 moms. And we really try to create a safe space, a community where you can be vulnerable, feel safe, ask your questions, get support, and connect. It's so important to connect in this time. It's so easy to tell ourselves we can do it all. We are superwoman. Not saying you all are not superwoman. We are all amazing. We can all do so much, but asking for help or leaning on a community is powerful. It's amazing what you can do when you have other people beside you, in front of you, next to you, in all angles that you can kind of look to for guidance, for support, and know that you're not alone in it. So in our Facebook group, I started hosting Facebook rooms once a month. It's usually the first week. So our next one is July 6th, 11 a.m. And these ones can be a little more intimidating for the first time or if you're new to the group, but we've had so many first timers come in and love the experience. They message me after saying, thank you for opening this up to me. It's a short conversation, maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes. People kind of come in and go as they please. They have their kids with us, whatever makes sense for them. Sometimes you can't get a minute away. So having your kids sit with you, I've had a lot of moms do that, or while their baby's napping, they're, resting with their baby. And so we just talk about different topics. We talk about what's kind of going on in our lives, what can we use support with, and then we'll share some kind of inspiration. I usually have some kind of talk or thing that we can go over. And then next is our Peanut Pods, and that is through the Peanut app. And this is a little bit easier, I would say, if you're not as comfortable on screen. Of course, the Facebook room, you can turn off your screen, but Peanut Pods is all from your phone. It's an app. There's no camera. It's just your voice. And a lot of times people just listen. So we have July 7th and July 21st at 1 p.m. Central are our next Peanut Pods. We've covered all kinds of topics like affirmations for the new mom, self-love, tips for self-love, setting boundaries and how to say no, people pleasing. So a lot of these are self-improvement tips for moms, for women to better themselves in some way that they feel they're holding back on. Not bettering yourself as in you're not enough right now. I want to really emphasize that by personal development, we don't mean you're not enough right now. You are more than enough right now. You are enough just the way you are, but it's more setting yourselves up for more success in the future. So if someone's crossing boundaries that you don't like, how can we make you feel better and more supported in those boundaries? If you're unsure what to do about a sticky situation, maybe a family member or a friend, let's talk it out. So things like that, where, maybe you just need a little more community behind you or to talk through things. We have different supports systems there. So I hope you can join me on one of the Facebook rooms or Peanut Pod. And before we get to today is not an interview. Today is affirmations for the overwhelmed mom. I've done this a couple of times before and people always seem to really love it. So this was a pre-recorded affirmations talk about kind of asking yourself about your day, about your week, and looking ahead to things to come. So that's going to be today. But quickly, I want to talk about interviews coming up. So next week's interview is with the amazing Jenna Kutcher. I cannot be more excited to share this with you guys. She's coming out with a new book called How Are You Really? And if you would have asked me 3.5 years ago when we started this show, who was my goal of who to interview, who would I dream about interviewing, it was Jenna Kutcher. So I talk a little bit more about this next week, so I won't go too far into it today. But, years ago when I was at a different job, it was one of those jobs where I would go in and immediately the energy just went down. I could feel the weight on me and I instantly felt like I wasn't enough. I instantly felt like no matter what I did that day, I would not be enough, that I would be letting someone down, that I would be in trouble for something. And just the energy was it was just a very toxic environment. Let's just put it that way. And so I found Jenna Kutcher's podcast while I was working there. I don't even remember how. I think an ad came up or something. And I found her podcast, and it was just about, starting things for yourself, being empowered in your life, in your journey. And I started listening to her podcast every drive there to work and every drive home. And it gave me so much light to listen to it. It gave me something to look forward to. And I really, truly felt empowered in my own skin. And it's what ultimately encouraged me to leave that toxic job. And it brought me here. There's just so much I could say about Jenna, and I will leave a lot of that for next week. But I definitely cried when we stopped recording. We were talking and I was just expressing to her what she really meant to me. So I'm so excited. That will be next week. Can't wait to share that with you guys. And then in 2 weeks, I have my interview with Kimberly King, who is the author of I Said No, and it's a book teaching consent to kids. It's amazing. We had a really great conversation about important conversations to have with your kids based on their ages, of course, because a lot of times it can be really scary to talk to your kids about these things, that not every adult can be a trusted adult. So there are red flags to look out for, but based on each age group, there's a different way to do it. So we have a really great conversation. And I think it's a really important one, especially if you're afraid of talking to your kids about this stuff. She has this way of just expressing it in the right way. So if you feel nervous about talking to your kids about this stuff, or like kind of overwhelmed with the topic, check out the episode. That is in 2 weeks. And of course, I just want to thank you for being here, guys. This show would not be what it is without you guys. The Facebook group really inspires a lot of questions, a lot of topics. And I think this is the most full my interview schedule has been, and I cannot wait. We're making a lot of changes to the show to make them even better for you guys. And so, of course, at any time, if there's a suggestion you have or a topic you want us covered, please reach out to me. You can reach out to me directly, Christa at Mommy Knows Best, or you can reach out in the group. You can send me a message, send any of my admins messages, and we'll reach out to you guys. And every kind of feedback we get helps improve the group. And so I just can't say thank you enough. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Again, this is something I recorded previously, Affirmations for the Overwhelmed Mom. People just keep coming back and saying they really like these episodes because, I think we could all use a little encouragement in our days. When things get rough, it's really important to talk to ourselves kindly. It's important to also acknowledge how we feel. So I just want you guys to sit back, listen to this. And this is safe, to listen to with your kids. I think it's important to teach affirmations at a young age. So if your kids are in the room, by all means, invite them to say them with you or listen with you. I think that's great. All right, guys, without further ado, here is the episode for this week. And hope I see you guys, connect with you guys on another channel or another episode soon. Talk to you guys later. Bye. All right, guys, it's time for this month's bonus episode. I like to call them Krista's Corner, unofficially, of course. And each month I just have some different topics I like to discuss just for some encouragement, empowerment, and motivation. I'd like you to take this time to pause, maybe just listen if you can, and reflect. Reflect on your week so far and your month so far. What are the things that you feel really good about? I think so many times we focus on what we're not doing well at. So we need to train our mind to think of what we're doing well and what we're enjoying, what we look forward to. So as I'm getting ready for a peanut pod this afternoon, we are talking about affirmations for the overwhelmed mom. And we have done this one similarly before, very similar topic before, and our moms really enjoyed it. And so I thought I would bring that to you guys here, something similar, some affirmations that might help you get through your day. And I'm not saying affirmations are miracle workers, that your day is going to be instantly transformed. But here's the thing, it's all about wording. It's all about how we talk to ourselves throughout our day. And it's all about using words in a way that's going to help us, not hurt us, right? Because there's a lot of power behind words. And we don't think about how words can negatively affect us, how things can negatively affect us if we see it first thing in the morning, what have you. So I want to encourage you when you first wake up to write down 3 things that you did well the day before. And it doesn't mean you excelled at it. It doesn't mean you were perfect, because perfect's not a real thing, but something that you're proud of. Maybe you did it better than the day before. Maybe it's a new thing you tried. Maybe you failed at it, but you're excited and you're glad that you tried it. So here are my affirmations for the overwhelmed mom. I'm going to keep this kind of brief, but I really just want to encourage you guys to find those times And, it might be far and few between. It might be hard to have those moments, but find the moments where you can take a step back, take a deep breath, reflect, and show yourself some love, because you deserve love too. And I think it's very common to put yourself last as a mom. And I want to remind you that in order to be your best self, you have to give yourself that love, right? So without further ado, here are my affirmations for the overwhelmed mom. Write them down, save this to play when you're not feeling your best, whatever it is, so you can feel encouraged and inspired by words and reminded of how good of a job you're doing. And I just want to encourage you and remind you that every day is a chance to learn and a chance to grow. You don't have to be perfect. A bad day does not make you a bad mom. Okay, I know I said without further ado, and then I kept talking. So here we go. All right, affirmations for the overwhelmed mom. Every day is a chance to do better than yesterday. I am doing an amazing job. My family appreciates and loves me even when they forget to tell me. I am worthy of being loved. I am grateful for the time I have with my kids today. I am doing the best I can. I choose to be calm and centered regardless of the situation. I forgive myself for being an imperfect parent. Today, I will let go of guilt weighing on my shoulders. I am more than just a mom. I am deserving of happiness. My children do not need me to be perfect. They just need me. And that last one, when I was writing these down, I was like, wow, that's really powerful. So I'm going to say it again. And I want you guys to really remember those words and how powerful it is. My children do not need me to be perfect. They just need me. So letting go of this idea of perfection, because perfection does not exist. There is no perfect mom. We all have our own journey of doing things different ways. Motherhood, life, it's not black and white. There's so many different paths you can take, and there's not a right path and a wrong path. There's just your path. And you can pivot and move and choose new ways of going as long as you live. But letting go of that idea that you have to be perfect in order to be the best mom, it's just not attainable. They need you. They don't care about the little things. They don't care about the little mistakes, and put that in quotes. They just care to have you. That's what makes you unique. That's what makes you special to them, is you. No one can be you. Only you can be you. So letting go of that perfectionism is the first step. Like I started with these affirmations, every day is a chance to get better than yesterday. You're not in competition with the moms around you. You are in competition with yourself from yesterday. An improvement is not a straight up, direction. It can be up. There's going to be some days that you're going to have peaks. Some days you're going to hit valleys. Some days you're going to be just the same. And I think understanding that journeys are unpredictable. So as long as you can look back at your own journey and see progress in yourself, not based on anyone else's standards, but your own. You see progress based on your own standards. Your children do not need you to be perfect. They just need you. So it's okay if things don't go perfect today. It's okay if it seems like this has been the worst week and you're so stressed out. It's okay. Lean into those good moments. Lean into those things that make you feel alive. Lean into those things that are learning experiences. Because if we never made mistakes, we would never learn and we would never grow. So I always say I want to keep these brief. So I'm going to keep this as brief as possible. I hope you enjoyed those affirmations today, and take a deep breath when you need it. Sometimes even just sitting where you are and taking a deep breath is going to help. So keep going on your day, and you're just doing awesome. And I want to encourage you to not be in competition with anyone but yourself. You are on your own journey. All right, so carry that with you today and make it the best day, because you're going to rock it. All right, guys, in honor of Father's Day being this last weekend, we decided to have our MomTales question coincide with that. So we asked you to pick a celebrity dad, real or fiction, who relates to your spouse or partner, and why. And here we go. We got some really good responses. Number 1, Sierra S. Phil Dunphy from Modern Family, hands down. I guess there's no explanation needed. We didn't get an explanation. So if you've seen Modern Family though, like I don't know, I think he's probably my favorite TV dad of all time, just because he's like goofy and kind of awkward and weird, but like relatable at the same time. I could go back and watch Modern Family forever. It's just such a good show. And it's not only that, it's like that you see him in his vulnerable sides too, and he really relates to his kids, and he just does whatever he can to help them out. So that's a great answer. We actually had a lot of people saying Phil Dunphy. I tried to pick all different answers, but I think the biggest percentage would have been Phil. Number 2, Christina H. My hubby is a jokester and can be serious, is witty, and a dork. He relates best to this man. And she posted a gif of Ryan Reynolds. And I just say there were a few other people that said Ryan Reynolds, because I think he has that like relatable like tone to him, because you know, he's very good looking, he's in a lot of movies, but he's also very like real and can be kind of dorky, like she said. Like, he's not this unattainable kind of guy you see in some movies. He's seems real, like, and down to earth. So I think she described that in the best way. Kind of serious, kind of witty, kind of goofy, dorky, all that combined into one. Okay, number 3, Sally P. Bandit from Bluey. So I don't have any personal experience with watching this show. I think I've seen Bluey with my nieces a couple times in there, but I don't know. But again, there was no explanation, so we'll have to find out later why her partner relates to Bluey. Okay, number 4, Jess L. Jack Pearson from This Is Us. He would do anything for me and our kids. He's great about sitting with our kids when they're upset and letting them really feel heard. Oh, that makes me want to cry. Jack Pearson. If you guys watch This Is Us, just do it when you're like wanting a good cry and you have some time to yourself, because you will cry. I did not make it through all the seasons. It just ended up getting really sad, really depressing. Every episode, something really sad would happen. It was a lot. But I think I watched the first 2 seasons, 2 or 3 maybe. But man, Jack Pearson, it's Milo Ventimiglia, and I love him as an actor, so that's a great choice. Number 5, Heather Q. Sandy Cohen from the OC. Oh, my nostalgia. I love it. The way my husband helps out my son reminds me a lot of Sandy from the OC. Maybe it's because I always looked up to him when I watched the show when I was younger, but he truly embodies someone my son can look up to and be a safe place for his friends too. I love that. Man, we're probably like, I love the nostalgia, but we're probably about the same age we're watching the OC. That was such a great show, and Sandy was such a great person to kind of look up to. He always seemed to kind of have a level head. And then when, Ryan from the other town was having a hard time, I don't need to go into the whole story if you haven't seen it, but basically a kid in juvie, he brings him into their house. His actual son living at home was kind of like the nerdy kid, didn't really have friends. And so bringing this new kid in their house, they, become good friends, and hijinks ensue. It's a crazy time in like this rich town. Yeah, it's crazy, but Sandy Cohen, for sure, great one. Number 6, Erica A. Dre Johnson from Blackish. He can make the kids and me laugh to no end, but he inspires lessons in a fun and meaningful way. I love that. I've seen a few episodes of Blackish, and I can see what you mean about Dre Johnson. Just the way he relates to the kids in a way that's like, again, obtainable. I think a lot of times on shows, it's like these like grand gestures that you're like, that would never happen in real life. And so I think he does it in like a attainable way that kids can kind of like understand where the parents are coming from, if that made any sense. Number 7, Anonymous. We've been watching Boy Meets World. Again, the nostalgia. I love this. And have established the Hubs and I are totally Mr. and Mrs. Matthews. I remember this show so well. I mean, it's been a really long time since I've watched it. It was so long, in fact, that when I first read Mr. and Mrs. Matthews, I was thinking the teacher. Now I can't even remember his name. But no, I remember that's Corey and Eric. Corey and Eric are brothers. I'm trying to figure out the show again. It's their parents. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, I like it. I do always remember them being very reasonable with the kids. Again, of course, I watched it when I was a kid, so maybe I'm just like, oh, they're just parents. I don't know. But I always remember them being really like sweet with the kids and knowing what was going on with the kids when they were going through a hard time or a breakup or something was happening. So I thought that was kind of cool. Number 8, Anonymous. She says, okay, please keep this anonymous because it might sound mean, but I mean it in the most endearing way. My husband, in some ways, some is capitalized, some ways reminds me of Michael Scott from The Office. Not the early seasons where he's just out of touch and rude, but later in the seasons in his sweet moments. He likes to crack a joke when things get hard and tries to act like things don't bug him, but at the end of the day, he loves deeply and really cares about his family. I totally get that though. Huge Michael Scott fan, but I get it because in the early seasons, especially like recently, I was rewatching season 1 of The Office and he's it's like deep down he's the same, but the way he acts in some ways are just so cringy in the first season, or actually probably the first like 3 seasons. You're kind of like, ooh, yeah, maybe that's not good. But later on, you kind of see more sides of his character development and you see that he's becoming kind of more aware of, his words and how he treats other people and how deeply he cares. Oh my gosh, especially the final season. I won't do any spoilers, but especially the final season, you really see, or his final season, I should say, you really see what this place means to him and then how much he loves his fiance. Her name is totally slipping my mind right now, but I totally get that. But I get why maybe you want to be anonymous. You don't want people to take it the wrong way. I love that. I loved reading these because I think we all see different sides of people in our lives based on maybe the shows we watch. I mean, I can see from a lot of them are shows, from years ago. A lot of them were shows I grew up with. OC, Boy Meets World, Modern Family a little bit. I know that was on for like ever. I don't know exactly what years, but I was probably in high school or college when that was on. So yeah, I think you kind of are inspired by people that you see on TV and kind of relate to them in different ways and seeing different sides. All right, thanks to everyone that submitted their responses to this week's MomTales. We got a lot of great responses on our social media page. So if you want to read some more, I highly recommend you check out our Facebook group. We have a great thread going of these responses. Hope everyone had a great Father's Day weekend, spending some time with their family and celebrating the father in their life. All right, thanks for tuning in and I'll see you next week. Hey guys, if you found this or any episode of Mom Talks with Christa helpful, please like, comment, subscribe, and of course, share it with your friends. We release new videos every single Wednesday, and our new podcast is out every single Thursday. So lots of different ways you can catch us. And of course, if you're not following us on our socials, go ahead and follow us there. We've got tons of new content for you every single day. And finally, if you're watching this and doubting yourself, you're doing a great job. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.